It is officially that time of year. What time, you ask?
The official time.
That's correct. Pumpkin is in the air, as well as
love. Yeah.
On this show.
Yeah.
Lots of it. I'm going to show you guys how to make some beautiful, fluffy pumpkin pancakes, but the star of the show, I don't know, some people think that may be the star of the show.
Nah, dude.
I particularly think the star of the show is a maple pecan butter syrup.
All right.
Woo! It's going to be delicious. Let me show you guys how to make it. I've said this a whole bunch of times. I'm not much of a baker, but I wouldn't consider pancake making baking.
Except
that it does rhyme. Very simple. We're going to start with our dry ingredients, much like bakers do. I'm going to start with some all-purpose flour. I've got about 1.5 cups here. Then I'm going to go with just a touch of baking powder. Now remember, baking powder gives us the lift. That's what we want. Then we're going to go in with a touch of ground cinnamon, the flavor of the season. Then we're going to go with a touch of ground nutmeg, which I'm a huge fan of. A little ground ginger for a kick of that spice that really brings all of these flavors together. And then some ground cloves, which again, just like flavor of
like
the
all
season.
Those are like the fall.
You need them
Christmas
all. You need
flavors.
all of them. Fall, Christmas. We're not to Christmas yet. Don't jump the gun, CJ.
My bad.
We're also going to add a pinch of salt because salt makes everything much nicer. You know, also sugar. We need some sugar because we want this to be a sweet pancake. Now grab a whisk and mix all of our dry ingredients together. The whisk helps break everything up if there are any little clumps of flour or anything like that. We just want it to be nice and smooth. That looks pretty good. Now let's get to our wet ingredients. Now the reason we do these separately is because we want everything to be evenly combined. We mentioned that a second ago. Let's start out with some of our milk. I'm gonna go with about 1 cup of milk. And if you haven't noticed, I'm not measuring. You know why, CJ?
I noticed because it's not about measurements, it's about technique.
Measurements help. Measurements help.
They help when you're baking.
About 1 cup of milk. To this, we're also going to add about a stick of butter, 1/4 cup of melted butter. Let's go ahead and add an egg, 1 egg. Now here's where I like to get fun, a touch of maple extract, just a little dab will do ya. And let's go with about 1 cup of pumpkin puree. I mean, it's really simple. Take your whisk, mix all of those things until they're evenly combined. You really want to make sure all of these flavors are smooth and even before we mix them together, which is the next part. Magic is about to happen. Wet into dry. Here we go. Let's we don't want to add all of it. Let's add most of it. You can always control. We don't want these to be too thin. But you know, you can always add more liquid. It's hard to take liquid out. Let's give this a mix. And I'm gonna need, I don't know, maybe I won't. Maybe I won't.
There.
We do want it to be smooth. Now actually something to remember, hey no, splash yourself with flour, please. You don't want to over mix pancakes because then you start to activate the gluten and then they get a little heavy. We do want it to be fully incorporated, but we don't want to over mix. You know, I feel like I do want a little bit more here. We just don't want it to be, again, we don't want it to be too wet, but we also don't want to over mix, so be careful. Actually, Todd's a stud. Todd Toven is a stud at pancakes. He's got that down on lock. This is looking pretty good. Now we're gonna let this sit for just a bit, like 10 minutes or so while we get to our sauce. It actually gives the batter a chance to kind of puff up a little bit more and give us that gorgeous puffy pancake, which is what we want. Now we are on to the pecans, or the pecans.
Pecan.
Huh?
Pecan pie.
Pecan pie. If you know that movie, let me know down in the comments. I'm just gonna chop these up really nice and small. The reason I wanna chop these up is because I want tiny little morsels of pecans. I really want that flavor to penetrate my syrup in just a bit. So chop them up as small as you can. I mean, they don't have to be like powder or dust or anything, but nice tiny little pieces is perfect. In all honesty, you could just buy them chopped.
That's what I would have done.
There's nothing special about this. Nothing special about this part. All right, here is what is special. Now I have a pan over here on my side burner. If you don't have a side burner, you can do this right on your griddle top. I'm gonna start getting that hot. I want to toast all of these. I might put them back in this bowl, just so I don't drop them all. I want to toast the pecans. Now most of those like holiday nuts that we all love have a lot of beautiful flavors locked inside their oils, and the only way to access it is by toasting them. You know, toasted seeds, toasted walnuts, toasted pecans, almonds. It really brightens up the flavor. It changes the flavor as well. I'm going to save some of this for maybe for garnish
White
for later.
chestnuts are roasting on an open fire? And
Jack Frost, nipping at your toes.
Nose or toes?
Whatever you want.
I think it's a nose.
It's definitely a nose. All right, so now no oil, no butter, dry pan, and we put our pecans right in the pan. Now be careful, they will burn really, really fast, so we're not gonna leave. We're talking 60 seconds tops. You'll start to see them smoke just a little bit, and that's when we're gonna start moving it around. The oils are gonna start coming out. You can really start to smell how wonderful the aroma is. So 60 seconds, and then we're done. CJ, can you smell that?
Yeah, dude.
Like it's filling up the whole area. So gorgeous. Look at this, look at this. Gorgeous stuff. Actually, I should have had my bowl out better. Let's save these. Now the reason I didn't, you'll see in a second, I'm about to make a butter sauce. The reason I didn't do this together is because I really want my whisk to evenly incorporate and help emulsify that butter and sugar.
Hey, do me a favor and cover this.
Oh, 100%. Is that better?
A bit more. That's better.
Let's do everything you want to do. All right, that looks good. Now, actually, I'm going to take my little bit of paper towel. I want a clean pan for this part, but trust me, when you do this at home, you don't want to skip the toasting of the nuts. It really does change a lot of the flavor. That looks good. Now we have a clean pan. All right, now to our sauce. Very, very simple. We're going to start with a stick of butter. Let that start melting just a little bit. Then we're going to add about a cup and a half of brown sugar. We're going to mix these two things together. Oh, also a touch of that maple extract. Now these three liquids, well, I guess the sugar is about to become a liquid. That sugar dissolves and melts. It starts to create caramel, and to stop it from going full caramel, we're going to add some heavy cream. Now this is going to give us that saucy, it's syrup, but it's going to feel more like a sauce. Don't forget to add just a pinch of salt to this as well. I mean, that's how easy it is to make a delicious crazy sauce. Whisk a little bit. Once the bubbles do start to get big, cut the heat. It will start to tighten up a little bit more, be more syrup-like, but this doesn't take long at all. Oh, and last but not least, you gotta add those chopped pecans. Now the flavor's really gonna start to penetrate as they sit in that delicious sauce, but let it cool down until it's starting to thicken up just a little bit. I feel like I don't have to really explain the pancake part. Very, very simple. I've got some unsalted butter. I talked about that way too much. Please always use unsalted butter. Control the amount of salt with your cooking prowess, but don't use salted butter. What are we, maniacs?
Yep.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm gonna go down with some butter, unsalted butter. Very simple. How many should we do, buddy? 4, 5, 6?
At least 4.
At least 4?
Yeah.
All right. So we'll give ourselves enough real estate to do a few. I'm gonna take a big spoon. Now, these are gonna be fluffier and thicker than your traditional pancake because of all that beautiful pumpkin. So we wanna go low, a low, medium, low heat. We're not cruising, we're not going fast and furious here. Just nice and gentle like. Just use your spoon, make them mostly roundish, and just watch them puff up. Now we're going to follow the same rules as pancake making does. You're going to look for those bubbles around the edges, but essentially flip these over. You know, you're going to cook them for, let's say 2 minutes per side, push it a little further if they're extra thick, and then look for golden color. I mean, that's as simple as it gets. You know, this really is one of those dishes, like when you start to stack them, you see that gorgeous color, the aromas of pecans and pumpkin and maple fill the room. It's just, it's magic. It's straight fall holiday magic. Now the last little thing these beauties need is a touch of this sauce, and look at it. It's thickened up nicely. We have that gorgeous texture. Again, if you don't like the pecans, skip the pecans. The sauce is just as good without.
I wouldn't though.
No, I would definitely not. Let's go right over the top. Oh my goodness, come on. And be generous. I mean, these aren't your typical pancakes, right? They're fluffy, they're heavy's not quite the right word, but it probably is. I just don't want to say it. But
let me say it, dense.
No, they're not dense. They're just they're girthy. CJ, that's what it is. That's what it is. It's one of those things you make this for a holiday morning or any time of the year really. It's just crazy good. It's the aroma. It's the aroma. Let's take a bite and see how we did. He knows.
Do I?
This guy's about to know. Whoa, so good. Oh yeah, this is, I'm gonna say it's a heavy way to start your day.
Might be better to end the day with it.
Holiday seasoning, holiday season. There are no rules, right? Oh, wow. The syrup, the pecans, pumpkin's not overwhelming. It's not like what do they get at Starbucks? Those pumpkin
lattes,
frappes, whatever it is. It's not like that. It's a really good pancake, very, very fluffy. That pumpkin flavor comes right. Dude, I'm not a sweets person. It's that little bit of like salty nature. Look, can you get in here close, CJ?
Coming in.
Look how gorgeous and fluffy. Just stunning, stunning.
That is nice.
Beautiful little pan clock. Pan clock, wrong show.
Pan clock.
Wrong show. There you go. Very, very simple. Thank you for I always do this.
Yep.
The end of every episode,
Yep.
when we've got the flavor. I mess up my words. Thank you so much for hanging out. Be sure to click the subscribe button down below if you're on YouTube. Click the little bell icon to make sure you get a notification every time we post a video. Check out all the other shows: CJ Show, Betty Show, Todd Show, Destination Delicious, Bruce Mitchell, Chefany T. If you haven't seen her stuff, unbelievable.
She's rad.
Unbelievable. It's like Cambodian.
Yep.
I believe Cambodian food. Crazy good. That's it. That's all I got. Gonna hammer these.
Let's do it.
Gonna feel good about myself. Getting into the holiday spirit, the holiday season. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Cook, Eat, Repeat. I'm your host, Chef Nathan Lippy. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Dang, it's so good.